Good afternoon, Your Honour, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. My name is Con McFadden, and today I will be defending John Simmons and acting as the defence attorney in this trial. Simmons has been wrongly accused of murdering Andrew Clark, and according to the Queensland Criminal Code Act 1899, murder is when a person unlawfully kills another under any of the following circumstances. That is to say, that if the offender intends to cause the death of the person killed or that of some other person, or if the death is caused by means of an act done in the prosecution of an unlawful purpose, which act is of such nature as to be likely to endanger human life. Today, I will prove to you the innocence of John Simmons, and that he had absolutely no intent to murder or harm Andrew in any way, shape or form. John's actions were perfectly reasonable in the situation present. The accidental death was not a result of Mr. Simmons' actions. According to the legal dictionary, an accident is an unforeseeable and unexpected turn of events that causes loss in value, injury, and increased liabilities. The event is not deliberately caused and is not inevitable. Andrew's death was an obvious accident, and John had no intent to cause the tragedy that took place. In Section 23 of the Queensland Criminal Code, it is stated that a person is not criminally responsible for an event that the person does not intend or foresee as a possible consequence. After being taunted by a boastful Andrew Clark, John threw small stones in order to express his disappointment with his performance earlier in the week. This was the only act of physical conflict inflicted by John, and any reasonable person would not expect death to be a result of throwing small stones at someone. The accident took place as a result of a fall that caused the unconsciousness and then the death of Andrew. As I said previously, John threw stones at Andrew after being taunted. Then, filled with rage, Andrew pulled out a cricket bat and began to swing it at John. After being struck once with the weapon, John attempted to evade further damage. Andrew, still attempting to harm John, tripped and fell down a steep embankment, causing his death. John then called the ambulance and stayed with Andrew as help arrived at the scene. This death must have shook the relatives and friends of Andrew, and surely had a major effect on John as well, who has been wrongly accused of killing a friend and fellow swimmer. To further convince you of the innocence of John, we will present multiple cases of evidence throughout the trial. One key piece of evidence found at the scene was the cricket bat that was used to assault John. Also, John's forearm was found to be bruised as a result of the impact with the large wooden bat. Another key piece of evidence found at the scene was Andrew's bike. These pieces of evidence prove that some type of conflict took place. Also, the evidence found proves that both of the boys were 100% present at the time of the crime. The prosecution has tried to convince you, and will continue to try to convince you, that John is the one who caused the death. They have also tried to convince you that of the intent John had to harm him. The prosecution has wrongly stated that John's intent to kill Andrew was the fact that Andrew had done exceedingly well at the race earlier in the week. This accusation is extremely inaccurate, and cannot be perceived as fact by the jury. John had no intent to seriously harm Andrew, and he did not foresee the event that was about to happen. He had no idea of the danger that he put himself in, as Andrew pulled out the bat with intent to seriously harm or even kill John. His only thought was to get away. If Mr. Clark had not fallen, today's trial would have been very different, and John's life could have been the one ended at the hands of Andrew. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I know that after today's trial, you will choose correctly and save an innocent boy from the punishment he doesn't deserve. My client does not deserve to be held responsible for the terrible accident that took place. One innocent boy's life has already been lost, and I hope that after the jury's decision, no more innocent lives are limited or lost. John should not be held responsible for an accidental death of another. John was simply in the wrong place at the wrong time, and should not be accused of committing a crime he he would never even think of committing.